Music is Specials. The is Ghost Town by the Specials. These are my dogs. Dogs always get more views. All right, let's go here. I'm in the middle of cooking something, but I wanted to make a quick video on prepping, how I prep some of the hot peppers that I use. These are jalapenos. I started using this one already. I got two ways I do jalapenos. I always just leave the stem right on and use it as a handle. And as you saw, I cut this way, turned it a half turn, cut this way. This way, if I want a finer chop, I just run through and it's a finer chop. I don't really go any finer than what I'm doing right here for anything with jalapenos. And I try not to waste anything, so when it gets near the end, if you can cut around the stem a little bit, you get a couple more pieces. But like I said, I try not to go any finer than that. More often than not, what you're going to see me do with jalapenos is just, God, I love the Specials. More often than not, what you'll see me do with jalapenos is just this. I'll start at one, and by the way, wash everything first, okay? Wash your vegetables. I just go with cuts like this. These are not primarily heat for me. I'm a hotter, spicy food guy, but I do use them in dishes. My wife is not really a hot food person. She doesn't mind a little spice. But when I do this, it's readily identifiable. I'll do this when I'm pickling. I'll cut them like that. And never hurts to have a couple of extra little pieces in if you got them. But yeah, they say that if you leave the heart and seeds in a hot pepper, it's hotter, which is what I'm looking for here. Because these jalapenos, they're supermarket jalapenos. They're not as hot as I'd like them to be. I prefer the jalapenos from my gardens. And these are alright, but they don't really have a kick. It's like a tiny little bit. They make for a wonderful pineapple jalapeno sauce, which we'll finally get around to that video. I already did habanero jalapeno. If you want to look at pineapple, or habanero pineapple, excuse me, if you want to look at habanero jalapeno, I'll put that up too. But it's the same exact recipe, just substituting a whole bunch of jalapenos for the habaneros. All right, does that make sense? Okay. Now, as like I cut that first one, just a little note for you. If those kind of rounds are too big for you and the quarter ups are smaller, then what you can do is you can cut them. What the hell did I do? I thought I had another jalapeno. Oh no, I didn't. I didn't. All right. Anyway, instead of cutting quarters, you could cut halves if you wanted. Now, these are hot Italian peppers. Long, skinny. You see, I already started using this guy. These are a little bit hotter. That's why I got them, and they have a nice flavor. But again, all I'm going to do with these is this. There's no need. They're so long. You get tons of pieces. They're small. And you're going to cut them relatively thin. I mean, no more than 1/8 of an inch if you can. Actually, I guess I'm going by maybe 3/16 on these. But it offers plenty of surface area to cook out when you do that. It offers plenty of pieces to float around in a bigger sauce. And this is a half of one, and as you can see, this one here is like 7 inches long. The other one's like 6 inches, 6.5 maybe, when you straighten it out. And again, all the peppers in, all the hearts in. The only peppers that I clean, that I cut up smaller than this, really, are habaneros and ghost peppers, which I get out of my garden. I get them in the store if I can find them every now and then. But when I cut them up, I'll cut them up like this size and then rock a big knife on them like this to make them really small. Because what I'm looking for is invasive hot when I use those, not like invading throughout the recipe, if you know what I'm saying, where it's like every little bit is hot, not a piece of spicy. This will infuse, what I'm doing here will infuse some heat, but it'll really only be like spicy little pepper bits as you go. But like I said, with the habaneros and the ghost peppers, once you get to habanero, you're into what I call hot peppers. I do that. I will cut flavor peppers, I call them, up. Serranos, Cubanellas. I will cut those as, you know, and they're like you would use like a green pepper, but they add a lot of flavor, especially Cubanellas, one of my favorites. I'll dice them a little bigger. We'll do a video on that too. Anyway, that was cutting up hot peppers, what I do, why I do it. Thanks for watching. Hope this was useful, and I know you're probably going to be watching this as attached to another video because I'm using it for reference. Thanks for watching.